So today I am baking a chocolate log. I've done two before in the past, one years ago when I was at school and the second about 3 years ago, and I really like that recipe and I've lost it. So I'm going to try a new recipe today, see how that turns out, and then I'm going to show you at the end of the video how I display my chocolate log, and let's see if you like it. Okay, so for the cake portion, you're going to need some salt, granulated sugar, cocoa powder, sour cream, butter, all-purpose flour, baking powder, pure vanilla extract, and some eggs. So that is for the cake portion. For the whipped cream filling, so that's going to be inside the cake, you need some salt, some whipping cream, confectionery sugar, some pure vanilla extract, and some mascarpone cheese. Then for the ganache on the outside of the cake, you need some whipping cream and some semi-sweet dark chocolate. So first ingredient is 3/4 cup of flour. We need 1/3 cup of unsweetened cocoa powder, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. You'll now want to whisk and mix these items together and then set them aside. So here you need to separate 4 eggs. You're going to use the yolks first, but keep the egg whites to the side. So add the 4 egg yolks into the bowl. Add 3/4 cup of granulated sugar. Add the granulated sugar to the egg yolks and whisk. This kind of consistency. Add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract into the egg and sugar mixture. 1/4 cup of butter and 5 tablespoons of sour cream. Well, whisk it all up together, and then we're going to add the dry ingredients into the wet ingredients. So it looks like this consistency after you've added the dry ingredients to the eggs. Now you want to take the 4 egg whites and you want to whisk them into soft peaks. Now you want to gently fold the egg whites into the cake mixture. So here I'm now spreading out the cake mixture into a 17 by 11 cake pan. So now you can put the cake mixture into the oven at 350 degrees for 11 minutes. So here I'm spreading the confectionery sugar over the sponge so it's easier to roll up and it doesn't get stuck to the paper. Now make sure when you roll the cake up that the cake is still very warm. I'm going to let it sit there till it cools down. So next we're doing the filling, and we need 1 1/4 cups of whipping cream, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1/8 teaspoon of salt, 3/4 cup of confectionery sugar. Now you want to whisk these ingredients until it forms soft peaks. So this mascarpone cheese that I bought is actually 8 ounces, so I'll be adding all of this to this mixture. Nice thick peaks. Confectionery sugar. I think this is big enough. I hope this is big enough, this tray. So the cake should separate from the paper easily because you use the confectionery sugar as a barrier. Now I had to use 2 separate pieces of paper. So at that point where the 2 pieces of paper joined, my cake actually cracked, which isn't a problem because we are going to be covering it all up with icing anyway. Now, as you can see, now that the cake is laid out, the cake has kept its curl, and it only was able to do that because we let it cool down whilst it was rolled up. So now you want to do the icing, a nice thick layer all over the entire sheet of the cake, and then we can roll it back up. Now at this point you want to roll the cake as tight as you possibly can without cracking it any further. I'm going to turn it around. Set it on its crease. So I'm going to let that sit and cool for a while, and then I'll tidy up all the ends before we do the icing for the outside. Okay, time to make the ganache for the icing for the outside of the chocolate log cake. There is 8 ounces of semi-sweet dark chocolate in the bowl and 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. I am about to heat up the whipping cream to almost a boiling point, and then I'm going to add it to the chocolate. So I'm going to just mix the chocolate. I've heated up the milk in the microwave, so I'm just going to mix up the chocolate and the milk, and then I'm going to let this cool, and then I'm going to let it cool down to room temperature, and then I'm going to whip it up, and then when it whips up it'll go to a slightly lighter colour. See how the ganache is nice and shiny? So yeah, I'm going to let this cool and then I'll whip it up. Okay, so now this is the part where you can get creative. So I've seen some chocolate logs where they just leave it whole like this. So I think what I'm going to do is cut about this much off, cut it at an angle, and then add it here, and then straighten this piece off. So I've got my wood chopper here. So if I cut about here, I think. And now we're going to transfer it to the plate that I'm going to display the cake on. So I thought it'd be a really nifty idea to display my wood log on some wood. So it has a really nice decorative edge to it. This is actually the hardest part, transferring it without having it break. So fingers crossed, it might get a bit messy. Actually, I think I want to cut this piece off because I want a straight edge at the end. Put it out here, and as you can see, got a really nice swirl. So I'll put this about here. And the ganache is still cooling down, but then we're going to ice, and I ice the ends too. I don't like the swirls showing, so I'm going to ice the ends, and I'm going to do my design in the ends too. So we'll just wait for the ganache to cool down. Here is the frosting. Okay, so I actually changed the icing consistency because it was way too bitter. So I added more whipping cream. So it's more of a cream top than a shiny dark ganache. Yeah, that was way too bitter. So I've done the basic design. Now I'm going to add a couple of little embellishments. So, packet of Rolos, a couple of marshmallows. I'm just gonna flatten out the marshmallows a little bit. There you go. You have a little mushroom. There you go. So I bought this from Michael's. I'm going to wrap it in tin foil. We need some snow.